Let's go into the second element of a contract, consideration. What is consideration? Consideration is a promise supported by a return promise at a specific time. In other words, in contract law, consideration requires a mutual exchange of value in between the parties involved. You have a promisor and a promisee. Both of them need to promise something in return to each other, or a promise can be made and somebody else could give something. But two promises need to be provided so there can be a mutual exchange of value. And it has to be at a specific time, at the same time. You promise something to me, I promise something to you, we come up with an agreement. However, I do not see consideration in your scenario here. I do not see that element here at all. There is no consideration. Why is there no consideration? Well, the customer did not provide any consideration, whether that be a promise to pay for the product or anything of that sort. You did not promise to pay, and while the sign talked about policy, that does not mean that you made a promise. And there's not two mutual promises here, which automatically means there was no consideration. Now, the last two elements of a contract, those are capacity and legality. We already defined those at the beginning of the video. So let's go into whether you have them or you don't. Based off of my knowledge, you are within the capacity to enter a contract. And this is a legal contract. Going back to that methamphetamine example. If I were to promise to sell you methamphetamine, and in exchange you paid $500 for a certain amount of it, but you never actually paid it. You promised to pay, but you didn't pay. I couldn't go to court and request that you pay me because I was selling an illegal good. In this case, the good is legal and the contract is legal. This means that the elements of both capacity and legality are valid. So was there a contract? Capacity and legality. Those two elements were met. However, the elements of agreement and consideration were not met. That means only 2 out of 4 elements were met, which means there was no contract. You can't enforce a contract that does not have all elements. Therefore, you are not contractually obligated to pay the store owner. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day, Olivia.